All right, let's, I told you I was gonna show you another way. We're gonna carve an aunt and an uncle, I don't know. What we wanna do, move this close to where you can see it. In other words, okay, I want to carve another couple. This is a little bit different style of carving the little Amish man. Now, the first thing we want to do is establish our boundaries, where here is the, if we look at our pattern here, his arm is going to come down just like the other one, but this one is going to come, this is actually going to come down like this and come down like this, in other words. Come over like that, in other words, and okay, just like that. Okay, come up a little bit stronger and maybe not quite as far down. Okay, now and then the head, of course, comes like this, in other words. Okay, and this is, of course, where our, so if we draw it sort of like this, and then underneath here is where, up underneath here is where the beard is going to come, where it comes up like that, and a different little style. So let's go ahead and once again, first of all, we'll take and we'll cut where our arm is going to be on this side. In other words, very similar. I want to show you just a little bit different way of doing this Amish, this little Amish man here. We're simply setting our boundaries here, and you've heard me say that before. And basically, boundaries are where our arms, legs, all this stuff meet, in other words. We're going to draw a center piece down here, like that. Okay. And here, we're going to make our boundaries where this piece comes down or comes over, and if it's a little bit bigger, it's okay, because we can shut it down, and we want to be careful, just like that. Okay. Of course, our hat up here, and of course our shoes will be in here. Be like that. Okay, now we've kind of set our boundaries, and then the little beard comes like this, and we sort of set our set our boundaries like that. There we go. Okay, let's come up here also and let's go ahead and set our boundaries on our hat. Now we have done that before. And we know how to do that, in other words. Just setting our boundaries on things. All right. Now, we're going to come over here and just sort of set our boundaries on how far our arm should come up. And just like over here, our arm does not come up all the way to the head, in other words. It always comes, you know. That's very important to establish. Okay, just like that. Well, let me all right. Okay. Now, I'm going to move this back a little bit because this is going to come that way. It allows room for our head that we're making in here, and of course making room also for our shoes in here. A lot of people ask me, why do you not stay with one particular thing and you work around your figure? Well, that's the way I do to sort of work out what we commonly refer to as the area that we want. I try to just sort of work things down so I can get a general idea and a general picture of this here. So now, when you have a area that you have to work from that works down like this, you of course need to deepen that area with this arm and so that you will have room for the hand and everything like that, in other words. So this all has to come down drastically, as we see, to give you the area that you want. Now on this arm, of course, it comes down and goes across here, so that will all be cut in to there. See, just like that, in other words. And then that is, of course, that is brought forward. Just like that, in other words. But of course, we have to grab some depth in here where the hand's going to be. And we do that from the front. See, you're carving from the front, so you have to grab depth, just like underneath the thing here. You have to grab depth from the front, not from the side. Whenever we're carving from the side, then we can. The depth is already there a lot of times. But when you're working from the front, you have to grab your depth from the front of the figure, just like that, in other words. For instance, I told you this is where our beard is. And as you can see, this is the way that you grab the depth. You have to carve everything from the front. You have to get everything down from that point. So you don't want to come back here and remove a bunch of wood, because see, now that I have removed depth from the front here, then the arm no longer sticks back. So you have to take the arm and you have to bring it back. See? It's different when you are working from the front of a carving than from the side of one. Just like the face. For instance, from the side, I already have a face. You know, the face protrudes and I have my depth that I want into my face. But from the front, you don't have that. You have to make that depth by cutting away wood. That's why a lot of times I don't work from the front like this. I would rather work from the side, because I already have a look. See, if you look from the side here, from the side of your thing, usually my figures, I've already got the depth that I need. So you don't want to end up cutting too much back here, because you're going to have to bring a lot of it back from here. Okay? I hope I explained that right. I know that a lot of times people, you don't want to be, you want to work from the front, because that's the only way you're going to get your depth on your carving. Is that way. So see, you have to just really work a way that is subject to what you wanting to do, in other words. And sometimes that's kind of hard for people to first learn when they are carving, because you have to get it right. Okay, let me see. See, I have to keep bringing this arm down and bring it down. And if you take off too much from the back here at first, then what happens then is then you can't bring your arm back. You don't have the wood that you want. So it's a matter of simply symmetrics of working from the front right here. Okay? I hope it's really kind of hard to explain, and that's why I say I don't work a lot from the front. I work a lot from the side. And as we look at the side, of course, this is way too big. You're way too squared. But if you started taking all of this in here, then you wouldn't have the room to go back. And room for your detail for your clothing and everything like that, in other words. And I admit that a lot of these people that do these type of carvings, they don't, maybe they don't have the depth that I have. What I'm saying is I may get a little bit more depth in the face and be bigger. A lot of people don't. But I like to have, I guess, as a flat plane carver, this is one of the things that I have an issue with. Doing flat plane, you use a lot of bold strokes and bold cuts and bold depth to your figures, and that is extremely important. And it's also because see, when I begin to bring this all down for the hat, then that shortens this here and makes it not as, not as full of depth. So see, then I have to make this more of a depth, because I have to bring this down right in here so that can be corrected. And the same on the back. I have to bring this down so that the hat can be up underneath the so it's a just okay, just sort of bringing all this stuff down. So by having a lot of room here to bring this arm down almost all the way to the back, in fact, that provides for me to create more depth to the front of the carving, to this area in here, because your hand is not next to your, doesn't come out into your stomach. In other words, that's totally and completely erroneous. Okay, as we work it down, as we work this whole thing down, and then once you get your depth that you up here, then you can just come back here and work on it. But you got to get your depth here and how much you want. And then we're going to take and we're going to cut here, and this is going to be our hand. We want to get more depth, as much depth on our hand as we possibly can as well. So you have to cut away these areas so that you can get some depth. So that means having to bring down these areas here so you can get that pretty much even. So you don't have just around there. There we go. Okay, well, I'm going to let you go now because my time is about up. But so far, as you can see, we're getting, I know right now it looks kind of like a stick figure, see? But we're slowly going to get this taken care of, and we're going to bring this up just a little bit too. Bring that area up just a little bit. All right. Okay, now we'll come back and work on our figure. Okay?